A lovely morning to you, and thank you much for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, this is a segment, part of the entire program, which is Good Morning Uganda. We are here every weekday from 6:30, and you can't afford to miss the handsome and beautiful lady that come your way every morning from 6:30. Robert Cheravo, Nyonyitono, Felix Nkunda, and Molin Kenyana. We are here, plus a very big team behind the scenes and on camera. We always appreciate the fact that you spare time and start your day with us. We continue to pledge that we'll always spice up, entertain you, and brighten up your mornings. Now, today I'm going to be discussing with my guests something very important and also maybe a source of comfort to many, but also very destructive to a nation's economic progress. Because there's so much that we lose in terms of manpower, so much that we lose in terms of the health sector treatment, so much that we lose in terms of family structure. What could that be? Well, we are going to be discussing why we should regulate alcohol consumption in our country. Recently, World Health Organization came up with a report, and in Africa, we top the list of alcohol consumption as a country. Now, this is not good for us to be champions in that direction. We saw Honorable Sarah Pendi coming up and seeking leave to come up with the Alcohol Control Bill 2023. Now, this also sparked a lot of concern amongst a number of people. Some saying, it's my money, why do you regulate me? Others saying, it's a source of comfort and relaxation. Then also the economic beat, those in this business, saying, no, 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 we are among the 5 top paying tax companies to this country. So these will affect the jobs we've created, but above all, the revenue that we give to this country. Joining me on set is a lady very passionate when it comes to controlling alcohol and fighting alcoholism in our country, and that is Juliet Namudu, who is the Juliet Namukasa, who happens to be the chairman of Board of Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. You're most welcome to our studios. Good morning.
Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here today. Thank you for receiving me, and I look forward to some good discussion this morning.
Now, let's begin by understanding this association or organization. When we talk about Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance, what do you do? What is it all about?
Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance is a network of civil society organizations that are advocating for regulation of the alcohol industry, but also looking at reduction of alcohol harm in our nation. In your introduction, you talked about the social, economic, health costs of alcohol. Indeed, we are saying that as a nation, if we are going to develop, we need that harm reduced. And for that to happen, there has to be a conducive regulatory framework for us to achieve our goals.
Now, rightly said that there must be a regulatory framework for you to achieve that goal. When World Health Organization comes up and ranks us #1 in Africa, to the lead people who read these statistics, that may be easy for them to understand, but help us broadly understand how big is this problem.
One of the things that happened is that when the news came out, a number of Ugandans were shocked. They were saying, are we doing this bad? Is the problem this big? Yes, the problem is big. The only challenge that we've had is what we call the normalization of alcohol. Now, we have lived with the alcohol problem in our communities, and it has become very much accepted. And yet, it's a big problem. So periodically, there are studies that are conducted to see how much alcohol is being consumed by different communities. And in the past years, we have been number 3 in Africa, times number 2 behind Nigeria. But now, because again, we might attribute it to COVID, because during COVID-19, people were at home, and even when the bars were closed, people were able to access alcohol. So the alcohol consumption within our homes increased, but also there were online sales, there were home deliveries, all that worsened the problem. Originally, it was 9.5 liters of pure alcohol per year. That is like that is per capita, meaning that if all of us Ugandans took alcohol, that is the amount of pure alcohol that each person would take. And yet we know that not all Ugandans take alcohol. Actually, less than 40% of the Ugandans are the ones who are taking alcohol. But what happens is that they take, it's like they compensate for all those who are abstaining. So
those that drink will drink
a lot.
It's not what they say, drink a little alcohol for the good of your health.
No. Because when we look at only those who drink, it's over 25 liters per person per year on average, if you consider only those who drink. And we're talking about pure alcohol, all that going into our body systems. No wonder for many of us, our health is not really good.
Now, let's look at the driving factors that are pushing. Yes, you've talked about COVID-19. People maybe were depressed, some were very idle, but generally, what are these factors that drive alcoholism in this country? Maybe there would be now able to really understand, why do Ugandans in Africa rank number 1? What is making people drink alcohol like as if they're frogs enjoying water?
We'll take it to the regulatory framework. Where there is no law, where there is no guiding principle in any area, things will just go haywire. People will do what they really want. And that's why now we are talking about the bill. In Uganda, alcohol is everywhere. If we talk about availability, it is easily accessed. You just need to step outside your door, and the next shop, however small it is, you will find that alcohol is there. And it is sold in very small quantities. We saw the burning of the sachets, so we thought that that would reduce on the availability somehow. But when the sachets were burned, then the packaging changed to bottles of 200 mils, still very, very cheap. So the availability of alcohol makes it easy for everyone to afford it.
And you know what is very interesting? I don't take alcohol, and I have no offense for those that drink. It is their choice, as long as they drink responsibly. Though my Christian values there, we collide. I don't believe in drinking. But one unique factor is the cheaper the alcohol, the higher the alcoholic volume. A person who is buying something of this size, you may find on the bottle there's written 47% alcoholic volume. Person who is taking a bottle of beer, maybe at 5,000, then there is 17% alcoholic volume. This one is paying so much, and his capacity of getting the alcoholic volume is less. This one is paying so little, but is having a very high alcoholic volume. Then that beats my understanding. So you take cheaper, you get drunk very fast. You have the money, your rate of which the alcohol is affecting your sense of judgment is slower.
And that's part of the problem, because the strong alcohol is very, very cheap. So even the young ones who want to get tipsy, even those who have very little money, who are looking for a way of getting cheap tipsy very fast, they just go and buy. I mean, for 1,000 shillings, if I can get 200 meals with 40% alcohol content, I have nothing to lose. So they will go and buy that, and it is everywhere. The packaging is wonderful. People will easily pocket that. Actually, we thought that they're only packaging sachets, but also these bottles, people pocket them and they still move.
I've seen a number of border riders in their jackets as then puts back. I don't know why there is a sound they make, it's that very bitter or burning. Then again, puts his kawaraji back, then continues that. Takes like a spirit, then continues. Now, by morning, he's been taking small, but he's dead gone.
Dead gone. Now, the other one is that in addition to the easy availability of alcohol, the pricing is very conducive to those who want. We have made alcohol, and I'm saying we because we must own the problem in order for us to address it. We have made alcohol look so attractive. When we look at promotion and the advertisement, they give you all the cool girls. It's like when you take alcohol, you become cool. Now, that is one side of the coin. But they don't tell us the actual truth, that when you take that intoxicating drink, you're not going to end up cool. You will end up wasted. And actually, after years of being loyal to that drink, your entire countenance will be transformed, that you will look like someone who has taken alcohol even when you have not. And when these advertisements are made, our children are there. And they see all that publicity being made. I mean, when prime news, this is when you see all these wonderful adverts passing through. Now, that also makes our young ones who want to try out things, to go out there, try this alcohol and see whether it works. But also, the issue of age limit. We talk about 18 years of access, that alcohol is brewed from within our own homes. I grew up seeing enguli being brewed in my neighborhood, and nobody ever told me that you're not supposed to take this alcohol as a child. No. Actually, I keep telling people that at the age of 8, I was making my own marwa. I was making my own kwete. And today we know that marwa, the alcohol content can go as high as 15%, and that is already high. So our children grow up interfacing with alcohol. They are the ones who at times help their mothers to sell alcohol. So that, because we do not...
the daughter can bring you, the entire family. It's a family business.
It's a family business. So that one is a big problem. We need to have that addressed. Right now, Uganda is talking about 18 years. But for us, we are saying no. Still, someone at 18 years is still very young. The brain is still developing. We need to raise the age to 21, so that when this child is growing up, their brains are not getting used to a psychoactive substance. We need them to be sober if they're going to drive our Uganda to the next level. Yes.
Well, even 18, we've still failed to achieve that. You go to many places, you see... but this also brings me to ask Juliet, do people understand the danger of alcohol? I've seen parents, you know, there is a party and he's sipping on a beer, then gives a child, and you're like, is that your child? Do you know the danger you're doing? I've seen parents say, telling a son, you know, telling a daughter, you know, take a beer. You're at campus, you're at university. Now, well, you should be taking, you know, I mean, you finished in year 6. Why shouldn't you be taking you're a boy? Some will even tell you, if you tell them to quit alcohol, but well, my mother was, now what are you trying to tell me? You know, there is sometimes so much attachment we put and value to alcohol that I feel maybe people lack, but I stand to be corrected by you people in this field. right information about the danger of alcohol. When you go to a party and you organize a party and there is no alcohol, someone can tell you na yene birthday party. You know, what kind of party did you invite us? To give us soda? You know, to give us juice? Is this a party? You know, and there's so much attachment of positivity, not negativity.
The whole normalization aspect of alcohol is the problem. Now, it has become so normal that even when we see the harm it causes, we are not able to face it and positively address it. Because many of us are living in communities where we see issues of gender-based violence. And for some people, they are good until when they have taken alcohol. I remember growing up and I would hear people say, in other words, let me go and take this alcohol, have a change of mind, I'll gain a certain level of boldness, and then I'll be able to do certain things that I've not been able to do. Now, we have normalized alcohol.
Gives you the confidence.
Yes, we have normalized alcohol, and that is the problem. We are in homes where parents are struggling, even those, and I keep telling people this, and I'm not ashamed to say this, that from my primary 1 and primary 4, my mom used to brew, and I got school fees from alcohol. But I keep asking myself, what was happening in the homes of those people who were buying her alcohol? Today I'm an adult. I remember I was in Kisenyi when I met my elder brother. That elder brother, may his soul rest in peace. He was a brain. I remember his fellow drunkards telling me that if only we could cut off the head of this guy because he's so brilliant. And yet he was sold out to alcohol, that you'd find him drunk from morning up to evening. He died at the age past 50. He never achieved anything in his life. He started taking alcohol when he was young. We see these realities, but somehow I feel that some people feel helpless. Others do not know that there is help somewhere. Others do not know that there is a solution. But also we get blinded by what I termed as the sweet of alcohol, the income generation that we get. I remember talking to some communities that, can you people stop brewing? And they were telling us, but this is where we get our livelihood. If we stop, how will we pay for education for our children? How will we pay for the medical bills? Until when we asked them, are there any problems associated with your business? And they told us the unspeakable experiences they were going through. So people are there. They have not been able, yes, they live with a problem, but articulating it in view of the economic benefits. And even when we come to our country, Uganda, you talked about the alcohol industry being among the first 5 revenue earners. Now, when we come to Parliament and we say parliamentarians or our government, our ministers, we need this regulation. They look at the revenue that is being generated. They look at the jobs that are being created. They look at the corporate social responsibility, because the alcohol industry is involved in so much corporate social responsibility. And yet behind all this, there is the harm, there is the damage that is being created in our communities. For example, you will say that you are supporting a school, but who is going to attend this school when our children are allowed to access alcohol when they are young? I mean, you say you're creating employment, but who is going to come and work when they are all intoxicated? So we need to have a sober population in order for us to be able to grow and get to the next level. And that's why we need regulation.
Now, you're talking about regulation. We saw Honorable Sarah Opendi seeking leave of Parliament to go and come up with a bill. Also, she was vehemently supported by Honorable Betty Namboze Bachireke when it comes to alcohol. At least those are the ones that came out and said, no, 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 we cannot continue doing things as normal. We have laws, the Nguli Act, a number of, and other laws through which government can do something. Given even what we have today, which we have almost 100% failed to put in place, do we need another law?
We need another law. Now, you've talked about the Nguli Act. There is, I think, the Liquor Act. There is the Portable Spirits Act. Now, all those are there.
And recently, I saw government, when we had mayhem in Karamoja, government vehemently coming out and saying, Waraji, no car transporting, because these people are dying, you're saying they're dying of hunger, but a number of them have an impact, that death have a connection with alcohol. So this war of taking and driving alcohol to northern Uganda is something we are stopping. Maybe one would think it was there, right? So with these laws, what aren't they doing? And how sure are we that when we get new laws, they'll change? We shouldn't continue being a paper tiger. Good laws, good laws. Laws are made in Uganda. You've heard of that? Born in Uganda, raised then whatever. Should we be a country of laws, laws, laws with no meaning?
Now, some of the laws we are having, some of them like Nguli Act, that was made in the 60s, a lot has changed. It's not addressing, even the Liquor Act and the Portable Spirits Act, all those are not comprehensive enough to address the situation we are dealing with. For example, when we look at the issues of availability of alcohol, I mean, the Nguli Act does not address all that, because the Nguli Act was about people reserving the Nguli for distillation into Uganda Waragi. But today some of the materials that were used making the Waragi are imported. So that one is not really working. So we need to address issues of availability. Those are not well addressed within the existing laws. Where should alcohol be? Who can sell this alcohol? At what time should the alcohol be sold? In what packages should it be sold? Who can buy alcohol? Should we send our children to go and buy alcohol? No, we should not. Now, all those are not adequately addressed within the existing laws.
You've just reminded me of a scenario when I was growing up. People used to buy alcohol in gourds, in Deku.
Yes.
Now, the first time I tasted alcohol, actually, and when who should buy alcohol to me, I had a friend, and the father would come home, then get that. It was a small, I don't know, modern day, I've not seen them so much. So the father would give this child money to go and buy. Now, you know, young boys along the village, I had my tire, and you would run. Life was good. We were few people in the village. As I'm moving, I find this friend of mine holding. I was coming from a very Christian background, and it could never step anywhere. Hey, God, Chicho, you know, I say, I'm taking daddy's booze. I'm like, Say, let me see. Says, wait. Say, no. Then, interestingly, God sipped. Hey, ogenda kunywa ako naye katono. Situsana teguli mbajja kumukuba. I said, okay. I don't know what booze it was, so he sipped, he gave me, I sipped, he sipped, he gave me, I sipped, as we are getting near to home. Now, by the time we reached close to home, I think we had half of it. And God, the next I had was Cain's all over God. Now I was praying that he doesn't report who they have taken it with, because home it would be danger. Because how would, but God helped, and God was able to get the strokes, and he never revealed with whom they had taken. So I would ask, Adamu dio kutuma, Well, I know I couldn't get it anywhere. So who should buy is also something very important here.
Very, very important. Now, just like you've said, that a kid has been sent, and then he meets another kid, and there you start drinking. And now you are saying, when will they send you again? So that maybe you meet up and again have that sip. And it is that one sip for many children that has meant the entire difference. And then I talked about also the issues of advertisement, and promotion. All that is not addressed in the existing laws. We need to know, when should these adverts run? Is it when children are watching our TVs and they are being told that for you, when you take this alcohol, you become so strong, you become so energetic?
Cool life.
Cool life, no.
Seeing things differently.
We tell, that's very, very deceptive. I really pray that the alcohol industry...
These slogans are so sweet.
Yeah, alcohol industry could come up and give these children the reality that when you have have taken so much alcohol, they will find you lying on the floor, that you lose your control, that any man...
That can never be an advertisement.
No, that one would be...
An advertisement. Huh?
No, that one would be giving the true picture of what alcohol does.
Then you won't make money because you won't have those adverts.
But and that's what we are saying, that because they are giving information which is not holistic, I call it deceptive. We need regulation. We need to protect our children from all that. And then we have all these promotions, buy one, get one. Whom are they aiming at? The cool chicks from university. And so they get so much intoxicated. And even our children, when they're in vacation, holidays, S4s, S6s, they go to places, they take so much booze. Some of them are adding it into a number.
Have you heard of what they call bucket night?
Bucket night? Bucket
night.
Now you're telling me that one.
Some of these bars around have that night where alcohol is so cheaper. Maybe they will tell you 5 bottles at 18,000 instead of you buying each bottle at 5,000. Then those nights are densely populated because you're buying a bucket. There's so much you're taking. And because of the adverts, yes, you say it right. Remember someone who told me, but you who doesn't drink, how can we go out? You don't drink. You're going to bore me. How do you date a man who is not drinking anyway? Because how are you going to enjoy life? You stayed on a table and there's soda and you came to hang out. You're not cool enough. And
that's part of the problem, that we have made taking alcohol look like that's what enjoyment is. And yet, that's what I'm saying, that it would be very important for people to be told how the journey ends. If people knew how the journey ends, a number of them would not start.
But don't you think, Juliet, what you want or think can be done is an impossibility? Why am I saying so? It's only on cigarette where I've seen that cigarette smoking can be harmful to your health. But no genuine alcohol company is going to give you the ending of it. That will not be an advert. You want to sell a good. You can't decampaign what you're selling. At the end of the day, when you take 6, when you take, depending on what your body, your mentality, mental hard work and accommodate, then this might be the end. So we show you drinking, dancing, enjoying. Then as the advert comes to an end, we show you sleeping there, being rained over and driven in ditches.
And that's why we are here as civil society, to let the world know, to let our fellow Ugandans know that it's not as glamorous as it looks. Because at the end of the day, we know the pain that we are suffering as a nation. We are talking about liver cirrhosis. We are talking about cardiovascular diseases. We are talking about mental health. There you go to Butabika, and some of the patients there are our young people. And what is the problem? It is alcohol and drugs. These unwanted teenage pregnancies. And with this alcohol, we are rating high in a number of unfortunate situations. When you look globally, Uganda is among those countries with the highest teenage pregnancies. And when you look for how all those things happened, for many of them, alcohol is a factor. We are talking about HIV and AIDS. And not to stigmatize any person, but we are saying that when we have lost control, we do not know whom we are going to sleep with. Anything that comes will pass. And some girls have woken up, some young men have woken up to say, whom did I sleep with? And for some even they do not know that there is 72 hours window where they can go and get help. So we end up with all these many problems. We need information, and that's why we are here, to give the information that normally doesn't end up the way it looks like. When our children are not able to go to school because somebody used up all the money on alcohol, there is a problem there. When we are seeing gender-based violence in our communities, because I was talking to somebody in Pade, and he was saying that they have received calls now that gender-based violence is on the increase because husbands leave home early, they go to drink, and then they come back asking for food, and yet they didn't leave any money at home. Now, this woman who has struggled to find food for her children finds it difficult to get the same food to give it to her husband. And because the man feels, I am the owner of this home, you owe it to me to provide, to give me food, and because of either the physical superiority or something, he will end up beating the wife.
And in Kabale, do you know what is happening now? Such men who return drunk, statistics show that now women are the beaters. They give them properly because they have lost strength, they are staggering, they work on them very well. But now, talking about this law, the bill, if it sees the light of day, if Saro Pendi organizes, brings it properly, I'm very concerned about the economic impact of it, because this is where I find that big companies, names withheld, have an impact. I saw the Kavera band issue here, 30 microns and below. I saw the power when government stood out and said, we've banned ministers, spoke, permanent secretaries, spoke, civil society. You came up and thanked government for breakthrough. This man, when the people that push shots in terms of money stood up, there was a quote, there was an appeal, and now it's like we've never had a ban of Kavera of 30 microns and below. Now, when we go to the alcohol industry in this country, these are giants, leave alone the big companies. But how many per employed? Go to bars. A bar opens, they need a bouncer, they need waitresses, they'll need someone who is going to clean, they'll need, it's a massive employment sector. Not that I'm praising alcohol, but these are the realities. Many people, even when we leave the bars, now we go to rural areas, almost every little short distance, there is a lady who is dealing in alcohol, and she's a single mother. There is a man who is dealing in delivery, and this is the sole income they have for their family. So let's look at that economic factor, because it's strong and can make you lose the battle.
And thank you very much for pointing out the economic contribution of the alcohol industry to our nation. Now, that is one side of the coin. There is the other side, which I call the bitter of alcohol, which caused some women in Adilang, in Agago district, to stop brewing, because we said let us look at it squarely. Now, when we look at the economic impact, again, from the economic perspective, we're just looking at it from one angle. But you haven't looked at how much income is lost by this man who is taking alcohol from morning up to evening. For example, you've talked about the strong alcohol, 47 plus, being sold at 1,000 shillings. and this man takes this alcohol, or this woman takes this alcohol, and he's tipsy from morning up to evening, that person has not contributed to the economic development of the nation that day, apart from buying spending 1,000 shillings. But how much would that person have brought in if they went to their garden to work? So we need to look at the lost productivity as a result of alcohol use. But also we need to look at this money that has come through the alcohol industry. How much money are we spending on people getting accidents because of drink driving? We are not looking at the number of children who are not able to go to school because their fathers have spent all the money on alcohol. I was in, again, I talk a lot about per day because that's where I work. And these parents' shillings, Parents' Teachers Association Fund, and yet they were taking alcohol every day. And they told us that even when they do not have money to buy alcohol for themselves, a friend will do it. And yet that friend is not willing to make a contribution towards somebody's income or somebody's revenue or somebody's fees. So we have a problem there. When we talk about our children who are in Butabika, mental health, that's another big problem. How many doctors are we losing? How many accountants are we losing? All that is a contribution to our nation which we are losing. So we are just looking at one angle and not at all the others. And even when we talk about this bar that is opening in the morning, let us see how many people are there being employed at that time, and yet how many are coming in to drink. If we aggregate all that, we realize that we are making a loss as a nation. And it's because the alcohol industry has been very vocal about what it does. But now we are coming up to say, let us look at the health cost. Oh my God. For one child who has become addicted. For them to get treatment, we were told by experts, you don't need less than 7 million shillings. Now tell me how many of those women...
them to undergo rehabilitation.
Tell me how many of those women who are engaged in selling this waragi, they give out to the mandole, how many of them earn 7 million in a year?
Well, Julie, I must let you go, but before I let you go, we have so many laws, and you're advocating for a law. Enforcement, implementation has been the challenge to our dear great country. Now, what makes you think or believe that this law is likely to succeed and change the way things are being done as we wind up?
When the policy was drawn from which is going to support this bill, when the policy was drawn, we were very clear that this is going to be a community-led engagement. So we are already engaging communities. We have told them about what the policy is all about. They are waiting for the law. And already where we have bylaws, where we have ordinances, the communities have taken lead. They are the ones who are reporting people who are bringing in alcohol, the waragi you are talking about. It is actually the people who are taking the lead. And once this law comes out, we'll go to the grassroots and tell them this is what we've been asking for. Have it. We have bylaws in place. We have ordinances in place. When this law comes, it will strengthen what we have. We have the community willing.
Well, thank you so much, Juliet Namukasa, of course, for your time and that information. Well, there is so much danger associated with alcohol. Let's not sell our souls to the devil because of huge incomes we are getting. We are not saying, and they are not saying, that we should ban alcohol, but we should regulate the consumption of alcohol so that we save a generation, so that we reduce on expenditures. I want to call them invisible expenditures, because when you buy, it is visible, but the invisible expenditures that government is and people are spending on treatment, rehabilitation, and all the challenges that come with alcohol, gender-based violence. The list is endless of the negativities be compared to the positivities. See you in the next hour. Ruben is here to take you through sports updates. Good morning.